The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We need to pass a budget. That's one of the most basic responsibilities of those of us who are elected to office. And we need to get that done in a timely manner. The only thing that's keeping that from happening is partisan posturing, and that needs to end. And the president, as I said, has a responsibility to. The Republicans control all three branches of government. So they have a responsibility to work with Democrats to get this done.
God forbid the Republicans shut the government down. The American people will know it's on their back. First, they're in charge. They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency, so they know it's in charge. They're in charge. Second, everyone knows that you need a bipartisan negotiation to get this done.
Yeah, that's the Democrats now. We have audio of the Democrats then, okay? And the Republicans are not really in charge of all three branches. You need 60 votes to pass legislation of this sort by the current rules in the United States Senate, which requires Democrats to vote. So they hold the votes. Yes or no on a government shutdown. We are 2 days away from said government shutdown if it happens. Welcome, my friends, to the Monday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. Democrats sing a different song, depending on how they want to play their partisan games. And what is it that is the stumbling block? You don't know. I'll tell you what it is. That's why I'm here. Democrats want illegal immigrants to have their health care back. That's it. Now, they spent, while the bill, the big, beautiful bill, remember all this? While the big, beautiful bill was being negotiated and working its way through the House and the Senate, these same Democrats that are out here squawking now, like Hakeem Jeffries and the rest of their ilk, said over and over again, well, no illegal immigrants get health care. No illegal, we don't have illegal. Yes, they did. And not just illegal immigrants, but also people that can work that choose not to work, have loaded bennies. And those two groups were dealt with in the big, beautiful bill, and hence the cuts over a 10-year period of time. Democrats and their allies in the mainstream media, like the Los Angeles Times. The Los Angeles Times has today a story about all of the ills that will befall people if the cuts to Medicaid aren't restored. How California families are already bracing for looming Medicaid cuts. And it is a lengthy story. It starts off with this sad story of a young man, Elijah Maldonado, born just 29 weeks old, needed specialty treatments that his family could afford only with publicly funded health care. He was diagnosed with cerebral palsy as an infant, spent his first 3 months at a public hospital. Lives in Orange County. He's 7 years old now. He receives physical and speech therapy, host of other services paid for through Medicaid, relies on a wheelchair funded by the government, an assistant paid for with taxpayer dollars to make sure he's safe on the bus ride to and from school. Each month, a $957 disability check helps cover the living expenses. He's still learning to speak. He uses an app on an iPad provided by the school that tells his family when he's hungry, when he needs to use the restroom, or when he wants to play with his favorite toys. It's his voice, his lifeline. His aunt and primary caretaker, Cassandra Gonzalez, says of the app, her compensation for his income is for his care. His in-home care comes from Medicaid too. Now that lifeline, and much of the government assistance Elijah receives is at risk of going away. First of all, there's the line. It's at risk. They don't know. They have no clue, the people that wrote this over at the LA Times, whether he's going to be affected or not. With hundreds of billions of dollars worth of cuts to Medicaid and food aid, kicking in this fall thanks to the passage of the Republican-backed One Beautiful Stinking Freaking Bill Act. On top of the earlier cuts that damned... I'm sorry, this is not a news story. On top of the earlier cuts imposed by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, a host of federally funded healthcare and nutrition programs that serve low-income Americans will be scaled back, revamped, and expanded. Work requirements and other restrictions or canceled altogether if individual states can't find alternative funding sources. Well, let's stop right there. The state of California, according to Gavin Newsom, is the fourth largest economy in the whole wide world. Maybe. Yes. Gavin Newsom says that all the time. Yes, Carlos is looking like, what? Yeah, Gavin Newsom runs around saying that all the time. The state of California, the fourth largest economy in the world. Well, why can't the fourth largest economy in the world pick up a few dollars? I'll tell you why. Because they've got the money committed to things, certainly not committed to fire prevention in Palisades, though. But they spend a bucket load of money in California on all sorts of things that don't have anything to do with helping out Elijah Maldonado. And if the dollars were threatened there, the state of California should jump at the chance of helping out Orange County residents. I read through this story. I skimmed through most of the story. It's very long, as I said. And there are other stories that are moving stories of people. But here's the deal. I kept looking for it. When are they going to talk about the fact that illegal immigrants play a large role in this, in their own budget? In their own budget. In fact, I might be so awful, and I'm sure people out there would think it's awful to even ask, is Elijah Maldonado and his family, are they here legally? Don't know. I'm not suggesting that they're not. We don't know. And the reporters doing the story at the LA Times won't tell us because they exclude that, and they are representative of the stories that you get all across the mainstream press. Somebody might be at risk. Oh, yes, states have money, but they don't mention what the state's priorities are in spending money. But somebody might be at risk. And it's those dastardly Republicans' fault. They don't tell us if, in fact, many of the people that might be at risk are receiving help from taxpayers of the United States who in many cases have problems trying to balance their own budgets, to feed their own families, to fend for themselves, to take care of their situations. But you'll never learn that if you read this because they won't tell you. It is not true journalism and the fact that they're not laying out all the facts. They're laying out a story that's supposed to affect you emotionally and make you think that Republicans are terrible. But it is horrible journalism, and that is what we hear over and over again, just like those first two cuts we heard. The first one was Jeanne Shaheen complaining. And then Chuck Schumer. Play that Chuck Schumer cut again, okay? And that's cut number 3. And let's just listen to Chuck U. Schumer one more time.
God forbid the Republicans shut the government down. The American people will know it's on their back. First, they're in charge. They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency, so they know it's in charge. They're in charge. Second, everyone knows that you need a bipartisan negotiation to get this done.
Now, let's go back in time. When Democrats were running the show. Let's go back in time. And you'll hear Chuck Schumer's voice. You'll hear Tim Kaine's voice. You'll hear Elizabeth Warren's voice, among some of the other Democrat legislators in the Senate, in the House, when they were in charge. That's cut 6. This is what it sounded like around budget time when we had one of these CR votes, and they were saying to they were saying the same things Republicans are doing right now. Just send a clean CR up. Send up a clean, continuing resolution. Let's continue to talk about the budget, but in the meantime, let's not shut down the government. Let's just, this is what Democrats sounded like then.
To hold these people hostage, instead of just letting them do their jobs, which they want to do while we work out our differences, so wrong.
This is democracy. And in a democracy, hostage tactics are the last resort for those who can't win their fights through elections, can't win their fights in Congress, can't win their fights for the presidency, and can't win their fights in the courts.
A government shutdown of any duration would harm hardworking Americans and our economy.
Why should we ask TSA officers to go without their hard-earned pay while they protect our airports?
I'm a senator from Virginia. Some of the hardest effects of shutdown will be seen in my state.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most.
Some who right now are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent, how they're going to make mortgage payments, how they're going to keep college payments going, how they're going to keep the lights on, how they're going to keep food on the table.
Had the government shut down, hundreds of thousands of people would have not gotten their paychecks. Federal employees would have been furloughed, sent home.
Our military won't get paid. Head Start teachers won't get paid. Our wildfire fighters won't get paid. Federal prison guards won't get paid.
A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos. Our veterans could see regional VA offices shut down and support services put on hold.
Shutdowns are not good for the economy.
Shutdowns cost taxpayers billions of dollars per week.
Shutdowns cost the economy billions of dollars.
They cost businesses money. They could even cause a downgrade to the nation's credit rating.
Families who benefit from WIC and other nutrition programs could see benefits halted.
If this shutdown continues indefinitely, 39 million Americans will risk not having enough food. They will lose their SNAP benefits in February. So that means American children will be going to bed hungry. It's unacceptable.
The longer that this shutdown goes on, the more Americans that will be affected.
Critical services and our economy are being threatened with poison pill partisanship. Shutting down the government should not be a negotiating tactic.
Hostage taking is all they have left. A last gasp of those who cannot cope with the realities of our democracy.
That was put together, by the way, by the White House. Effective. I'm so glad we have a real communications team at the White House now. Anyway, that was Democrats then arguing against government shutdowns for all of those. Every single one of those reasons they stated still exists today. But now they want to shut it down. And why do they want to shut it down again? We'll talk about that more when we get back. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Today is the birthday of one of the most successful American composers, especially in the genre of television. Many of you would recognize this, the theme song from Hill Street Blues. Mike Post is that composer. You would recognize it every time you hear Law and Order. That's another one. The A-Team, NYPD Blue, The Rockford Files, L.A. Law, Quantum Leap, Magnum P.I. This guy won his first Grammy. He was 23 years old for the best instrumental arrangement on Mason Williams' classic Gas. He also produced Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 album on Odd Jobs in 1981. Again, just a giant composer. Happy birthday, Mike Post. Now, the Democrats, all what they want. What do they want? Why are they doing this? Eric Schmidt, who is Republican congressman from Missouri, yes. was on Fox, and he explained it in less than 30 seconds. That's cut number 8, Carlos. This is what he said.
Their plan is to spend an additional $1 trillion to restore all the things that we rescinded, like Guatemalan sex changes and DEI in Burma. They want all that back, and they want health care for illegal immigrants. That's what they're fighting for. But again, they want to be perceived as the resistance more than a party that's willing to govern. And this is the time, I think, where we come together, fund the government, give us time to continue to work on appropriations bills. But the ball really is in their court. The Republicans are pretty unified here, and this is something, again, the Democrats have advocated for in the past.
Yeah, we have a brilliant quote also. Every time this guy opens up his mouth, he's brilliant. Scott Jennings, we may get to that afterwards, but there are other things in the news we want to touch on too. What is going on with law and order, speaking of law and order, and the National Guard. Democrats are having a cow because their criminals and their domestic terrorists are being threatened by law enforcement, and they are not happy about it. The things at this party, I mean, this is a party that's just almost beyond belief. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media. Keep it right here. And whatever you do, do not go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So while I was living in Czech Republic a while ago, a friend from Ukraine asked me why I had a sandwich made out of a hamburger bun. And he's like, well, it seems like Americans use hamburger buns for a lot of things. And I'm like, my dude, groceries are really expensive in America. So hamburger buns and hot dog buns become like sandwich buns. They become garlic bread. They become whatever we can because Americans are poor and we can't afford groceries, especially under Trump now. So this is my BT. I can't have lettuce because of digestive issues, but yep, on a bun because I don't have bread, but we have buns. Toast to the buns. God bless America, right?
If you believe that, liberal, America's so poor we don't have bread. I mean, these people are out of their minds. I have a soundbite that I'm going to play. I'm going to dedicate it to Her Highness. Okay, now, Princess Di, I thought about this. I'm like, oh, man, this is a liberal, and that's not, I think she's a liberal. Everything that I saw suggests to me that she's a liberal. But when she made the point, I'm like, oh, man, I think Princess Di might even agree with this woman. It's not about politics. Let's hear it. Carlos, that would be 17 with dedication to our very own Princess Diana.
Y'all need to realize that when we talk about 60% of the country being functionally illiterate, we're talking about you. People that don't know you're yours, you're theirs, you're 222s. It's not some amorphous population. It's you people that can't pass a 3rd grade grammar test. If you are consistently getting them wrong, we need to stop being like, oops, or, oh, is it really that big of it? Yes, it's a big deal. It is a big deal that you can't pass a 3rd grade grammar test as a full-grown adult. You need to read. I don't care if it's sports news articles. You need to read something that's published, that's been reviewed, that's been checked for grammar errors, checked for spelling, checked for competency, not just TikTok comments. For the love of God, people, you're functionally illiterate.
The comment that I saw over this, someone had posted this with the comment. It was one of those comments like, what the hell is this woman talking about? And you don't know what she's talking about? Carla, I'm not going to put you on the spot. Nope, not going to do it. Going to be nice. Your 222s. Okay, what she's talking about. You see it all the time if you're on social media. People that use your, Y-O-U-R, when the correct spelling is Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. For you are, instead of your. People that don't know how to use the difference between 2-O, T-W-O, and T-O-O. It sounds like two, I'll just put two. Yes, the number 2. And then there's the other 2. And then there's yet the other 2-O-O. The inclusive 2. Yeah, the things that they used to teach in school. How to spell, how to read. One more time. I just have to hear that one more. I fell in love with this. I said, oh, man. And you know why I thought about Princess Diana? Because Princess Diana is all about the words. The first time I met Princess Diana, very first day I met her, I will never forget this. She used some big word on me I had never heard of in my life. She was like, we having some conversation, and then she's talking about the somnambulance or something. I'm like, what the and so I never heard the word before. I didn't know what it meant then. I probably forgotten now. The somnambulance or subnambulance or thing, something ulence. And I asked her to write it on a Post-it note for me, and I kept it on my desk for many years. So every time I would just look at it, I would just remember how smart she was. And then, I'm not kidding, in the early days, she would, see, folks, you don't realize, in the early days, she used to smoke me. She knew so much stuff that I didn't know, and I'd have these conversations with her, and I finally said, look, how do you know all this stuff? And she told me all the programs that she watched and stuff that she was reading, where she got all this information, and I was like, oh, okay. And I started watching those shows, and then I started reading all that stuff. Between that and listening to Rush, I mean, look, I wasn't a sleeper, okay? I've been reading history all my life. I've been writing. I've been doing stuff. So I'm not saying I was dumb. I wasn't dumb as rocks. But she was smoking me on stuff. She'd come up with stuff. I'd be like, I don't understand how she gets this information. I don't know. So I went to school, did some homework. Now, all I got to do is just look on the side of my desk now. I don't have the somnambulance thing there. I have a check from her because she was wrong about Michelle and I was right. As happens most often now when we have a disagreement about politics. You were once the student. You were the Padawan. Now, now I am the master and you are the... Anyway, it's not like that either. Play that soundbite for me one more time. I just got to hear it. I just love this.
Y'all need to realize that when we talk about 60% of the country being functionally illiterate, we're talking about you, people that don't know you're yours, you're theirs, you're 222s. It's not some like amorphous population. It's you people that can't pass a 3rd grade grammar test. If you are consistently getting them wrong, we need to stop being like, oops, or, oh, is it really that big of a... Yes, it's a big deal! It is a big deal that you can't pass a 3rd grade grammar test as a full-grown adult. You need to read. I don't care if it's sports news articles. You need to read something that's published, that's been reviewed, that's been checked for grammar errors, checked for spelling, checked for competency, not just TikTok comments. For the love of God, people, you're functionally illiterate.
Aha. And the word, by the way, she just texted me, somnambulance, is another term for sleepwalking. So she just couldn't say sleepwalking. She said, gloating does not become you. What? Oh, there's her fan club again. Soon as I say something about Princess Di, here we go. Excuse me. America's Small Caffeinated Mom, it is not gloating if it's true. Somnambulance is another term for sleepwalking or somnambulism, a sleep disorder where a person performs complex actions like walking while still in a state of deep sleep with no recollection of the event upon waking. So that's what somnambulance, and somehow or another she used that word. I had never heard of that word. And so anyway, that's sound bites for Princess Di. Now, let's get back to some newsy kind of stuff. Gloating does not become me. So Donald Trump sending National Guard to Portland. Everybody here knows what Portland has become. It is a city that has been wrecked by the domestic terrorist group Antifa. The AG there and the governor of the state of Oregon their panties are in a wad over this. And this is what the AG has to say. His name is Dan Rayfield, about National Guard troops, Cut 9, being sent to Portland to finally, long overdue, finally quell the massive protests from the riots and the incitement and the attacks on our federal law enforcement officers coming from that domestic terrorist group Antifa.
At 9:32 this morning, we received communication from the governor's office that the president had invoked Title 10 to deploy Oregon's National Guard to the city of Portland. I had told our staff, and we've been talking about this for a really long time, that the moment that we got notice of a deployment, that I wanted to be in court with a lawsuit filed within 12 hours. As of 2 o'clock today, we have a lawsuit filed in Portland in the United States District Court to protect Oregon and its values, less than 6 hours from the moment we received notice.
Now, okay, you hear that. He's upset. I could go on. I didn't even bother getting the governor's lame remarks, totally lame. So you heard that the AG, the guy that's supposed to be defending the people of Portland, Oregon, and of Oregonians. So let's go to the streets of Portland, and let's talk to people that live right near, or let's hear from people that live right near this ICE center that has been, the ICE facility, that has been under attack from these domestic terrorists ever since Donald Trump and ICE started trying to get a handle on deportation. These are two residents that live in close proximity to this ICE facility that we see over and over and over and over again in the news with these Antifa types out there harassing people, trying to throw incendiaries at it and everything else. Here are those residents.
I am so happy that Trump is sending the National Guard in here. I live in this building. We both live in this building. We've been asking for help for months, and we're finally going to get it.
When do you think they're coming?
When? Not soon enough, man. Not soon enough.
What do you want to see happen?
I want him to come in and mess them up and just annihilate these people. Whatever force they need. Gals like her and the other people that live in the building. Watch out. They're the ones. They're the ones that I'm concerned about. So they're afraid to come out of the building. So I've been coming out every night, every day to help them, to make sure that they're okay. She won't even leave the building with him.
Are you afraid of the protesters?
Very. It's an extreme mob mentality to me, which means nothing is as it should be.
So are you excited that Trump's deploying the troops here?
Very excited. I cannot wait.
I can't wait for them to leave.
Forever and ever. Amen.
And if they don't leave, I'm going to bring in the gypsy jokers.
So, yeah, and those are just some. Now, let's move down, and let's go down to Memphis, Tennessee, and catch up with Representative Steve Cohen. And I want you to listen very carefully to this. He's BI itching and moaning because troops are going to be down in Tennessee, in Memphis. Listen very carefully to what this guy says.
We don't need the National Guard. That gives an image of a city that is, as Trump called it, I don't want to say what he called it. The city's not hurting and it's not in big, bad problems. We do have high crime, but it's coming down. Anything that can help it come down is encouraged and it'll be helpful. But the National Guard's not going to make the difference, and it might even hurt the city's image.
Okay, let's just go through what this guy said. We don't want the National Guard. We don't need the National Guard. Why, the city, why, I don't want to say what Donald Trump said about the city. I don't want to use that name. But, but we're not hurting. We're not in bed. Yeah, we're not hurting. Yeah, look, we do have high crime. We do have high crime. But it's coming down a little bit, and well, we could use some help, but no, it might. But helping it might mess up our image, folks. These people are insane. The city is not hurting. We have high crime. You tell the parents of people that are murdered. You tell the girls that are raped. You tell the women that are raped. You tell people that are seriously hurt, who lose their possessions to criminals. You tell them that the city isn't hurting. You tell them that they're not hurting. And then you have the audacity to say that this high crime city might suffer from image problems if law enforcement comes in and cleans up the crime. These people are insane. By the way, the Princess Diana soundbite, she sent me another message about it. Let me share it with you as we head to a break. Our lovely Princess of Policy, her nestness, the nest of beautiness, the nest of intellectualness, the nest of goodnessness, says, thanks for the soundbite. She isn't wrong, although she used the word amorphous incorrectly. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media, continues.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
People who ask me questions about, is it possible to make buses fast and free? I say the cost would be about $600-700 million, which is less than Andrew Cuomo gave to Elon Musk 1 year in tax breaks of $959 million. Showing people the context that we're in and building a coalition where they may not see themselves in me, perhaps, but they may see themselves in the best and the brightest that I'll hire to surround me in City Hall.
It's a two-man race now. Adams dropped out. That leaves Cuomo, Mondani. Well, it's a three-man race. Curtis Sliwa. But most of the experts are saying it's two-man. It's going to be between those two. I wish it would be Curtis, but anyway, we got to go shortly, my friends. Police on this day had their first number one single across the pond. Message in a Bottle, it was their third top 20 hit, but in the United States, it didn't do so well. It only went up to number 74 in the charts, which is kind of weird because everybody knows the song now. Anyway, we got to go. Fastest Hour in American Media wraps up. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your family, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. It's going to be an incredible week, and God willing, we will be back tomorrow to pick up where we left off with covering the news, the fun, and all the rest. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?